So Tom, this is day number 2.
Day number 2, yes.
Day number 2 at 535 Main Street.
Okay.
And so, what are you doing?
I am building a temporary installation sculptural piece revolving around language, working with the idea of a time machine, loosely speaking, but what it really will be is a pavilion with skylights in it, with a little text passage that I wrote that will involve basically paying attention to the current moment and the current place. The hope is that in a spot that's somewhat overlooked, that people kind of see as a potential, that that it becomes a little bit more, I don't know, a little more realized, a little more present, a little more acknowledged, something like that. It's interesting to be in the public, you know, instead of a gallery situation. It's kind of friendlier.
Yeah, I mean, we're sitting out at this vacant lot in Poughkeepsie, and it's funny because the people keep just looking at us, wondering what the hell we're doing.
Yeah, they do. The people are not, on the second day, I think they're less confused.
Yeah.
A lot of people have asked, and that's been kind of nice. You know, you don't actually have to usually answer, what the heck are you doing when you're building something like this. There's a different kind of support for it. So this has been a nice experience for that one, but it's it's surprisingly comfortable. It's actually nice to have the exchange and the chit-chat and the conversation. I have yet to have anyone like directly volunteer to jump in and start working.
Well, you've built this kind of crazy complex thing. I don't know, should I?
Yeah.
So I don't know if people can see this, but Tom's taken the cardboard, painted it, and made it into these little tubes that are kind of structural tubes, but it's just cardboard that's been painted together, and he's using that to kind of create these frames, which are going to support. Let's show people.
Yeah, sure.
So this is the kind of structure that we've got going on. It's going to kind of be up in the air, right?
Exactly, yeah. These will be overhead, kind of like skylights. They're translucent. I'm not sure how much of that shows for the camera. But what you can see where the word is on translucent plastic, and that will open up to the sky. The rest of it will be boxed in. But the whole framework will be built out of this cardboard tubing that I've been making, which is all recycled and recovered and safe from the trash. And it's not permanent and shouldn't be. But that's sort of the construction method that we have. So it's very simple. It's just screwed together with drywall screws. Charlotte over there is getting to be quite a master of it after a few minutes. Very simply pieced together without a whole lot of rules as to how it should go as long as it stands. And all that kind of ricketiness and the casual part of the construction, the not professional look behind it, you know, the degree of finish is to me really interesting because it's kind of sketchy, you know, like a sketchy drawing.
Yeah.
You know, it only stands for so long. It looks like it's not 100% stable, and I think that's all kind of interesting points of departure, you know, to talk about with art that you're making or to talk about the neighborhood. Right?
Yeah.
So the stability parts kind of resonate.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's like, when you think of art, you think of like the craft,
right?
Quality and all these things, and it's funny. It's like just a totally different way of thinking about it.
You know, it is, but it's not unconsidered.
No, that's what's great about it.
The craft of it is still, it's sort of intentional craft.
It's highly thought out. I mean, you're building these systems and you're really kind of like putting them together.
Right, and it's just sort of built with the idea of first of all, definitely looking the way that it looks.
Yeah.
It's not, you know, happenstance that it just turns out this way. But what it is it's made to look sketchy and it's made to look loose. Yeah. Much like, kind of like how a kid would put something together. If they just sort of weren't thinking about it. They weren't worrying about it. You know, I just want this thing to stand up. Right, and what do I have? I have a box of screws. Yeah, and that's it. Yeah. And so there's a logic to it that is intentional, but the degree of craft or the way that it's put together is intentionally rough. Mm-hmm. You know, very much a sort of self self-discovered thing. It's a DIY project.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just kind of great. It's like you're just using materials that are around and accessible, and they're not, they're not being super special, and it just makes it
Certainly.
so much more tangible in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, it's very unprecious, and it's very simply, obviously built. And that has a lot to do. There's two parts to that. First of all, it's kind of a fun way to work, and it's nice to get participation. If I hand this off to anyone to build, I don't have to be fussy.
Yeah.
I don't have to train an assistant. I don't have to ask anyone to do it in a certain way. It just goes how it goes. But the other part of it is that the language side is really can be kind of dense.
Yeah.
And so
you've been doing this language stuff for a while.
yeah, yeah, for more than a few years.
Yeah, more than a few years.
So the language parts of it, if you take a complicated conceptual side and you put it with a complicated form, I think sometimes it asks too much.
Yeah.
I think that to carry some weight with an audience in a way that might allow them to think more about it, you need something that's a little more accessible.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have been working with simple form, with sort of these rudimentary, playful-looking structures to make it easier to enter into, and easier to deal with the language.
Yeah.
Right? So the language is sort of the high concept part, and the form of it is really childish and playful. And you find out that then everybody knows how to read, or not everybody, but enough of your audience knows how to read that once you get them in a spot where the words are, they can deal with it. If you just present the words in a rough spot, then or in a more if you ask too much for them to get to the words, that creates a problem. So that can be off-putting. Yeah, so it's conceptual art, but it's fun.
Yeah, and you're hoping that, the intention too is that local people would help out with building things too.
That's the option, and this is the first real run at it in the public, and so you don't know how it's going to come out. We did have some people come out specifically to work on it who knew, and that was really great. In a situation, later on, there might be a way to round up more support, or to bring out the same way that you might get the community together to clean up the lot.
Yeah.
Or plant a garden. Those might be the same people who you might, with a little planning, be able to get out to come and build something like this.
Yeah.
And the hopes are they're the people that live around here.
Yeah.
Right. So it's translatable into a context in a gallery where you would ask the audience to participate, but this time the audience is going about the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
So they don't necessarily always have time to stop and help. You're in the middle of their world, and that's also really interesting.
Yeah.
So that part's very cool. It's fun to sit here and kind of people watch a little bit too. I'm on stage.
Yeah, you're
Completely
on stage. People are just always checking you out, wondering what's going on.
Yeah, definitely. And this is, the part that they know what goes on around here and I don't.
Yeah.
So I'm constantly, my head's on a swivel. What's that? Who are they? What's going on? And they're all like, oh, right. What's this guy doing here?
Cool.
First day was stranger than the second. We'll see what happens for the third.
Yeah, it's exciting.
It's been warmer and more welcome and very comfortable. And so it's not first to walk into any place like this is, this neighborhood is, if it's not what you're used to, it can be a difficult thing to approach and to get comfortable in it. But just like anything else, once you start talking to the people,
things open up.
Yeah, it becomes really cool for that. And get some ideas from them, and that's nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's it. Cool. Thanks for talking to us.
Happy to. Thanks for having me.